Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Sabrina Ben Salmi, your host at Great Conversations, and I felt really passionate about launching this show by interviewing my mother. My mother's name is Mary Paul, and I just felt like it would be a nice way to start by honouring the person that brought me into this world and just having a great conversation of exploration and see where that leads us. So, Mum, do you want to say hi to the listeners?
Well, hi, everybody.
I felt it was just a good idea just for me and you perhaps just have a conversation, maybe start with a bit about your journey, where you were born and what inspired you. What was your dreams when you was a child?
Well, I was born in St. Lucia, which is a beautiful island. I was brought up by my mother, Amy Joseph, a really beautiful, loving, amazing woman. It's only one of a kind.
What was your outlook like as a child? What sort of dreams? Do you remember what dreams you had?
Well, as a child, I just wanted to be like my nan. Well, I say my mum. I just wanted to be like her. She was so loving and giving. You know, I was spot rotten, to tell you the truth. I had a lot of cousins, but I was the one that was sport the most.
He's one of the favourites.
Oh yes, yeah, my nan.
Oh, that's lovely. So what do you think some of the core values that she installed in you that you kind of passed on to me?
She installed compassion. Love was number one. Kindness to strangers. You don't have to know someone to be able to give them the time of day and show them love. I think that's very important. And another thing I shared with my daughter, which was extremely important to me, is to show love. And also when I had my grandchildren, to always to make sure to tell them that she loved them, just like I used to say to her. So I think some parents say, oh, you don't know unless someone tells you. So I think that's really important for families, mothers and fathers, to share with their children. Don't assume that they know. You have to actually verbally tell them and give them a cuddle every now and again. I think that's very important.
Why do you think it's important to have to cuddle and say I love you?
I think it's important to let a child know that they're loved. Because if you've got that special tool, then you're not going to have other immunity come in and let yourself be so vulnerable. Just some people will do anything just for someone to say to them, oh, I love you. But I think if they've been given that from the time they're small, then how would I say? Then you won't get yourself into so much rocks that's out there. Just saying, oh, okay, I want it just for the fact they're saying to you they love you, but that's not really true love.
Lovely. Can I perhaps ask you something about perhaps the transition from perhaps childhood, your childhood dreams, and maybe what happened in your adulthood and whether you pursued any of those?
Okay. There's something I was really passionate when I first started. Well, hairdressing was my number one at the very first. So I left school at, let's say 16. Went straight out, got a job straight away for a Jewish salon in Stepney Green. And my very first interview, and I got the job straight away. I was elated, running back to my mom and said to her, oh, guess what? I've got a job. And I got an apprentice there. They were so nice. His name was, shop was called John Lester. And there was a Jewish company. Wow, they was like my second family. They were so nice to me. So I went college in Jubilee Street, and I done my other days, one day apprentice, which I was doing in college, and the rest I was in the shop.
So do you think that you kind of held true to the values and that Grandma installed in you?
Oh yes, indeed I did. I think sometimes I give a bit too much, but that's just me.
And what was it like when you became a mother?
Oh wow!
How was that journey for you?
I think that journey was amazing, right? Let me say. Well, I met Sabrina's dad, and then
I met Sabrina.
That's how the journey began. And then I had this amazing child, Sabrina, and wow, from the first time I saw her, I fell in love with her straight away.
Ooh, you tell me that every day.
Yeah, so well, what would I say? She gave me strength, courage, and I was fearless. So I really was truly devoted to Sabrina as a child until she was, let me say, about 1 and a bit. Then she was really ill.
And how was it, perhaps maybe in a nutshell, how could you explain that long story in a short sentence, in the sense of how was it to take care of a sick child for you, because you was young yourself?
That was a task, a very hard task. But funny enough, I surprised myself, sorry, can't get the words out. Because she had a tracheostomy, so it was a very challenging thing for a young person on their own. But at the end of the day, I overcome it and I did it. The only thing which really annoyed me at the time was the nurses and doctor underestimated me, saying to me that I should give her up because she wasn't well, because there was so much nursing she needed. And I said to them, no way, because if I can't care for her when she is ill, why therefore I'm going to take her back when she's well? So I thought, no. And it took me a couple of weeks when it showed me what to do.
Yeah, well, I think, when my mum explained that journey to me, I was quite gobsmacked, because I remember my mum showing me a contraption that she had at home, and I can only describe it as like, it looked like an astronaut's oxygen equipment. It was just really remarkable. My mum would describe it. She had to literally pump this contraption, stick a tube.
That was the one outside.
Yeah, the one outside.
But the one indoors, it was electrical.
Oh, okay. So she had to literally, I used to make jokes. I was growing up, Mum, you had to pump me up to keep me alive. So, I always say to my mum, thanks for not giving up on me. So she literally had to keep me alive on a daily basis.
Basically, you use the catheter to keep the airway clean, and you always make sure you kept it clean so she don't get an infection. But to me, it was.
But you did that as a single mum, so that's also.
Yes, but sometimes you have to overcome your challenges.
But we all get scared sometimes.
Yeah, but you can't let fear get in the way.
So my mum's a lot more stronger than I am, to be fair.
That's what helps me.
I find that I think some of the things my mum's done is very courageous, I can't really put into words, because I think it's very daunting becoming a mother, and it's not until I became a mother myself that I realised the weight of what my mother had to carry. It's not easy having a child. As we know, no one hands you a user manual, how to use it, what to do. And we just have to do our best. So I think the reason why I wanted my mum to share her journey is not just because it's kind of glorifying me. It was more about my mother, because I think, in a sense, I took a backseat and encouraged my children. My mum's pretty much done the same with me. I've always called her gifted hands. Like, anything she touches turns to gold. She creates these amazing works of art. Why do you use art as your medium to communicate?
Oh, wow. In a nutshell, well, when I'm creating, wow, how could I say it? I'm elated, I'm happy, just wow. It's just, you get into it, and you're actually, if I'm painting, I imagine myself in that place. When I'm creating, could be a chair or whatever. It's like it's like giving birth, not the same as giving a birth to Sabrina, but in a way, because you're creating she's just sharing your inner self with other people. So that's what my creation, I'm so passionate about my creation. So but funny enough, if I'm going to paint a piece, I would never know what I'm going to do until I get in front of the canvas.
How do you feel when you're creating?
Oh, I feel, wow, amazing. Just like when I'm around my grandchildren, it's that kind of same feeling.
You skipped me. You can't say that.
No, I'm sorry, Sabrina, well, because I didn't mention you already. I don't want to leave there joking. Now. So that's how it feels to me. It feels creating, oh wow, I could do that every day in my sleep. It's just, I am so happy when I'm creating.
How does it feel, perhaps, not to take it off on a complete tangent, but how does it feel to you, in a sense, for being the mother hen of what's actually happening, the Catalyst platform for, you know, two generations down from you, what the kids are doing.
That's always been my dream, because my main focus before my grandchildren came along was to put Sabrina on a platform which I wasn't. So I was always making sure that she speak proper. And I did not allow the street to take my child. Even if I was working 3 jobs, I always made sure she speak proper, present herself proper, and behave when she's outside. That was very important for me. Even if I used to get a lot of stick saying, oh, she speaks too poshly, oh, you think you're that, you and your big words. That did not faze me one little bit. They had their dream and I had mine. And I knew I wanted to put my daughter on that platform. And it's nothing to, well, some people probably take it the wrong way, thinking, oh, it's to be big-headed. It's just I wanted her to have an easier journey than I did.
And do you feel like you've accomplished that?
Wow. Word speaks for itself. She's an amazing young lady.
Because of?
Because of yourself.
Because of?
I age you a little bit, but the rest is yours.
I really believe the analogy that, you know, you become the legs that are, you know, we're the tabletop, but we have to have legs that hold us underneath. So although I'm doing what I'm doing, I had to have legs holding me underneath. I know that you've been present for all 5 of my births.
Oh, yes.
When I was quite a drama queen growing up, a teenager, mum saying to me, I told my mum I was pregnant when I was 19, and my mother said, I'm going to kill you. So she went for me and my partner at the time. And she said, oh, I can't hit you because you're pregnant. I'll let the baby deal with you. So she went after my partner. But she never left my side, although, you know, she wanted the best for me. But I think...
I never think of which I want to say for some parents, mothers. It doesn't matter. I'm saying it is helpful if your child get pregnant early, because that's not the plan you had for them. But when that challenge come to you, never turn your back on your child. Always give them 110%, because if you don't, in a way you'll pay the penalty. And always give them the support of helping them out with their grandchildren, because don't leave them out alone, because the suffering they come through too is not a nice thing. Because I hear some grandmothers said, oh yes, oh why do you do that? Why wouldn't you? Because your grandchildren is your child.
Yeah. So
you must give them your heart.
Yeah.
My Lachey was the first one. That was my child. Now I used to go to exhibition with Lachey. I have to do my classes with Lachey. Everyone says, is that your baby? I said, yes, my granddaughter. Yeah. My little gem. Well, all 5 of them is my little gem now.
And they're in love with you just as much as you're in love with them, to be fair. I not remember, it still happens to this very day. They'll fall down, I'll be standing there, they'll run straight past me and run to Nanny. But it's beautiful. I think family is really important. One of the, you know, for me personally, I love connection. I think family is so important. I'm so blessed to have my mother around, you know, just to have that support, just to have someone to turn to. And I think, you know, people will understand it's not supposed to be perfect. You know, me and my mother have ups and downs, but I don't know, we've screamed and shouted at each other, and I'll say, I'll never talk to you again. When I get old enough, I'm moving far away across the country. But the truth is, I'd never leave my mum, you know.
She knows she can't do that for too long.
and my kids are excellent. If I say I'm not talking to Nan, they say, well, that's good for you, I'm going to call her, which I think is really important, because I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned on my journey in particular, I know it's not too much about me, I want to speak more about you, is that forgiveness, you know, learn to love those people that surround you, and loving doesn't mean you have to just bite your tongue. I think that's not really being fair, because that means that one of you have to stay silent and it's all bottled up. Mum and I do talk, and I vent a lot, and sometimes it's not in the most nicest way, but I do understand. And my mum, you learned how to say sorry this year. I can't believe my mum says sorry, or I made this mistake. My mother never used to apologize, so I think I take my hat off to you, because you're very open now. You apologize, and I was like, wow, you said sorry. I can't say anything. You know, none of us is perfect, but I think For a listener, perhaps from a perspective of a grandmother or a mother, what would you like the listeners to hear from you? What's your message? Because you're not here about me, you're not here about the kids. What have you come here to do?
What I would say is very important to help your children, be it your daughter or your son or your grandchildren. If they have a dream and they come across to you for assistance, don't take over the dream. Remember, they came for you for assistance. The dream is not yours. It wasn't given to you. It was given to your daughter or your son or your grandchildren. It's not about pushing them, it's assisting them. So, say for instance, if
so not meaning to be rude,
yes,
but I want you to talk about your sacred gift. See, before you became a mother, you had a dream. So I think that one of the purposes, yes, I want you to open up the platform to give that sacred space for other conversations. But also, you're not just a mother, you're not just a grandmother. You've got gifted hands, you've got talents. There's things that I saw you do when you were growing up. So what's your message? What do you think you're here for? What do you love doing?
I believe we all have a legacy to leave. And mine is anything artistic. Oh yes, I can I'm blowing my own trumpet. I can transform anything. Be a home, styling someone, whatever it is, the more messy or the more mucky it is for me to sparkle it as a wow, I'm your person.
Okay, with regards to your dream, if there was 5 people you can connect to, like this is going out on air, if there was 5 people you can connect to help your vision become a reality. Because I know that one of the things I always promise you, the kids and I, we said that one day when we're successful, we desire to help you open up your own gallery, to put your masterpiece in. Who would you like to connect with to help you connect the dots for you?
Okay, that's let me see. Well, really, what I'm looking for is a good outlet, because I'm not out. I want no handout. I'm too gifted for someone to give me a handout. Well, I was looking for a space on commission base.
Okay.
Like if
gallery space,
shop space on a commission base. Yes, I'll definitely do that.
Okay, so you just want like a platform to showcase your artwork rather than just all you need.
Because I let my work speak for itself.
Yes. It would be good for you to get used to asking for help. My mum doesn't really let me help her. She likes to find her own way. But I think it's really important that we understand the power of asking, the power of connections. I think that we are a stone throw away from the next person that we need to make that right connection with. And I love your masterpiece. One of the pieces, which piece is your favourite? One of the ones you created or quite symbolic, very near and dear to your heart?
The very, very first piece that's so is the glass chair, which I named after my grand, which is Amy. So that chair is so I am extremely
Do you know what comes to mind? Sorry to stop you. If you're okay to share, I remember being a child and you having an accident on the stairs. And I think that's there was something symbolic to that because you held on to that seat. And if you're okay to share that with the listeners, I think it's been quite powerful because there's a reason why you held on to that piece.
One of what Sabrina is really talking about is the first glass chair I made. I went to an exhibition, I think it was Women International Day. And on the way back, because I'm someone that like to do things for myself, and on the way up the stairs, I fell with the glass chair, but literally fell on top of the glass chair. But I came off without a scratch. It was as if someone was protecting what got between me and the chair, because I fell on the glass chair and it broke to pieces. But I was okay. Yeah. But funny enough, the seat stayed, and I've got it up to this day.
Yeah. I think as a child, you have a different perspective. See, that memory is so clear for me because we lived in a maisonette And I knew how much that meant to my mum, because it was a representation of someone who she deemed to be her mother. And I remember my mum coming up fairly emotional, but she said, Sabrina, it's smashed, it's gone. And I was thinking, how can it be gone? You know, it's you, just an absolute gorgeous sculpture. I most likely post an image of it in the feed. And she just lifted up this toughened glass piece, and it was the seat. And she said, no matter what, I'll be making more. And it was quite interesting. So it was very expensive to make, but going forward from then, she kept it. Like my mum says, she still got it to this very day. And she went on to take part in exhibitions. She was like hidden art, 100% design.
One in Wales.
Yeah, one in Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
And then you had Esquire.
Garden.
Yeah, you had an Esquire come to the home to pick up, was it one of your Queen of Sheba chairs?
Yeah, Queen of Sheba chair, which I named after my mum, actually, that Queen of Sheba.
And that was phenomenal. I think that was so awesome, because it was just like giving her the push she needed. She didn't really get much support from friends and family when she was young.
Oh, you forgot to say that
Queen of Jordan.
Queen of Jordan sat on the chair.
Yeah, that's true. That was like really remarkable. So I think my mum taught me that nothing was impossible.
Nothing.
I was diagnosed with dyslexia, thrown out of schools, put into a school that actually used to physically restrain you, and she never gave up on me. You know, I was in.
Well, you wasn't in there for long, because that took you out straight.
Yeah.
It's been about a week.
We won't tell him your kung fu fight inside a feed, Mum. But I think one of the biggest things I learned from you as a parent is that sometimes parents make the mistake, if they get a complaint from school, they tend to just listen to the teacher and the child is silent. And my mother always said, okay, I'll come to the school and I'd like my daughter to be present. And she would ask me to be honest and open, but she always ensured that she got both sides. And to this very day, I still use that principle with regards to my children. The love, the care, and just, you know, paying it forward and caring enough about myself and others around me. So I think, you know, I just want to, if there's anything you want to say, is there a message that you want to leave with the listeners?
Yes, I would like to say I've got a new selection of cushion coming out with diamonds and water pearls.
Ooh, Diamantes. If you was to go back in time and talk to your past self, what message would you like to give her? What would I say
to my younger self is keep strong, keep thriving forward. And if I knew what I knew now, I would have started that years ago. And never could give up. And that's me, never. The more you fall, dust your knees up and get right back. No matter what anyone tell you, you're wasting your time. And especially if they say you're not good enough, prove them wrong by not with word, by your action. That's what it is, but always by your action. Word doesn't mean anything. Action is the key. Just action is the key.
What's your heart saying to you right now?
What's my heart saying to me right now? I am honored, and totally it's a pleasure to do this with you.
You know, you're in trouble. This is just a warm-up, so we're going to come back at some point to kind of get you going and get you inspired to take some inspired action for you, to stop worrying about lifting us up high or saving us or protecting us.
Oh no, that's number one. Number one. So that you.
It's going to have to happen because we're fine. So, you know, I just want to thank everybody that's tuned in. Thank Marina. Thank you, Cheryl, for connecting me with Marina. I feel very humble and privileged to be able to interview my mother on this platform. I have no idea where this is taking me, but I am open to just taking one step at a time and see where it goes. Thank you, Mum, for being the first guest on the show. And let's just embark on the journey and see where it takes us.
I'm very proud. I remember when you had your first on the stage, and I remember I was an audience, I said to you, you know, you can do it. And the radio show, TV,
TV?
The TV.
BBC?
Yeah. BBC.
Hyperventilating and panicking. Yeah, no, Mum's always said to me, I can do it. She's asked me if I'm ready, and I'm pretty much ready.
You're more than ready. I know you're ready.
Yeah.
You've been ready for years.
Well, thank you very much. I hope that there's something that you can take away from it. I think the mother and daughter connection is very sacred. I think it's so important. I think it's much needed. You know, we're very fortunate for those of us that have our mothers still alive on this planet, and for those that have, our mothers have passed. You know, as a mother, I would say love. The love of a mother transcends time and space. So your mother's love is gonna definitely encapsulate you. I'm actually privileged that I can still talk to my mum in this physical essence and be present. And let's not take it for granted. You know, it doesn't mean because our mothers are older they can leave. We can also leave. So let's just learn to appreciate the time that we have together. Thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Love them unconditionally.
Cheeky.